What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to LSR10. We have finally reached the business end of the FIFA World Cup, and this quarterfinal could be one of the best games of this entire tournament. On one side, we have Spain, arguably the most complete and defensively dominant team left in the competition. On the other, we have Belgium, a side that has exploded into life in the knockout rounds and now looks like one of the most dangerous attacking teams in the world. This isn't just Spain versus Belgium, it's the tournament's best defense against one of its most explosive attacks. Spain haven't conceded a goal in 6 consecutive World Cup matches, a tournament record. Belgium, meanwhile, are averaging over 21 shots per game, the second highest figure ever recorded in a World Cup since detailed statistics have ever been tracked. Something has to give. Will Spain's control and composure prevail, or will Belgium's firepower finally crack La Roja's incredible defensive record? Let's break everything down from recent form and tactical battles to the players who could decide this blockbuster quarterfinal. Let's talk about tournament journey. Let's begin with how these teams reached the last eight. Spain's route has been steady rather than spectacular. They opened the tournament with an emphatic 4-0 win over Saudi Arabia, followed it up with another convincing 3-0 win against Austria, and they showed they could grind out results when required. Against Portugal in the round of 16, it wasn't vintage Spain. Portugal defended well, frustrated them for long periods, and looked capable of forcing extra time. But championship teams often find a way. In the 91st minute, Mikel Merino delivered the decisive goal to send Spain into the quarterfinals with a hard fought 1-0 victory. That win perfectly sums up this Spanish side. They don't panic, they remain patient, trust their system, and eventually find the breakthrough. Belgium's journey has been very different. Their group stage performances were solid without being particularly convincing, but everything changed in the knockout rounds. After overcoming Senegal, Belgium produced arguably the performance of the round of 16 by dismantling the United States 4-1. It wasn't just the scoreline. They created chance after chance, attacked with pace and confidence, and looked every bit like a genuine World Cup contender. Charles de Ketelaere starred with 2 goals, while Belgium's attacking football suddenly reached another level. That victory completely changed how people view Belgium heading into this quarterfinal. Let's talk about recent form. If we compare the recent form, both nations arrive full of confidence. Spain are unbeaten in 15 consecutive matches across all competitions. Their last 6 games, include 5 victories, 1 draw, 12 goals scored, and only 1 goal conceded. What's even more impressive, Spain have scored first in 5 of those 6 matches. They rarely allow games to become chaotic because they're usually in control from the opening whistle. Belgium's numbers are equally impressive. They're unbeaten in 18 consecutive matches. Across their last 6 games, they include 4 wins, 2 draws, 18 goals scored, and 5 conceded. That's an average of 3 goals per game. Few teams remaining in the tournament possess Belgium's attacking momentum. So while Spain arrive as perhaps the safest and most consistent team, Belgium arguably enter this match playing their most dangerous football of the tournament. Let's talk about head-to-head history. History strongly favors Spain. The two nations have met 11 times since Belgium's last victory back in Euro 1980. Since then, Spain have won 9, drawn 2, and lost none. What's even more remarkable, Spain have won the last 5 meetings between those nations. Aggregate score, you ask? 13-1. That is total domination. However, World Cups tell often a different story. Belgium eliminated Spain on penalties in the famous 1986 World Cup quarterfinal after a dramatic 1-1 draw. Spain responded by defeating Belgium 2-1 in the group stage of the 1990 World Cup. So while modern history belongs firmly to Spain, Belgium know they have produced on the biggest stage before. Let's talk about Spain's greatest strength: defensive perfection. Let's talk about the statistic that should concern every Belgian supporter. Spain have now kept 6 consecutive clean sheets in World Cup football. Not in just this tournament, 6 consecutive World Cup matches. That is the longest clean sheet streak in World Cup history. Even more astonishing, Spain are conceding an average expected goals against, that is XGA, of just 0.30 per game. That's the lowest figure ever recorded for any team in a single World Cup since detailed data collection began. Think about what that means. Opponents aren't just failing to score, they're barely creating any chances. This isn't luck, it's organization, it's positioning, it's midfield control, it's intelligent pressing, it's outstanding defending from the first minute until the last. Whenever Spain lose possession, their immediate reaction is to win it back within seconds. That limits transition opportunities before they even begin. And that's exactly why they have been impossible to break down. Let's talk about Rodri, the heartbeat of Spain. If Spain are the tournament's most balanced team, Rodri is the reason why. People often talk about his passing, but what makes Rodri truly special is his ability to dictate every phase of the game. He controls the tempo, he knows when to slow the game, when to accelerate attacks, when to recycle possession. His passing statistics perfectly reflect his influence. Rodri has completed 80 line breaking passes at this World Cup. That's the most by any Spanish player since 2010. Only legends like Xabi Alonso, Xavi, and Gerard Piqué produced higher numbers during Spain's golden generation. Those aren't ordinary passes. They are the passes that eliminate midfield lines, split defensive blocks, and instantly create attacking situations. Belgium's midfield cannot allow Rodri to dictate possession. If he controls the rhythm of this match, Spain will almost certainly dominate territory. Now let's talk about Lamine Yamal, Spain's X Factor. Every elite team needs someone capable of producing something extraordinary. For Spain, that player is Lamine Yamal. At just 18 years old, he continues to play with incredible maturity. What makes Yamal so dangerous isn't simply his pace, it's his decision making. He rarely forces situations. He knows exactly when to dribble, when to combine, and when to release the ball. Statistically, he's been outstanding. Yamal has completed 17 successful dribbles during this World Cup. Among teenage players since 1966, only Jamal Musiala in 2022 and Kylian Mbappe in 2018 have completed more in a single tournament. Now that's elite company. Belgium's fullbacks have their toughest examination yet. Double mark him, and Spain will find space elsewhere. Leave him isolated one on one, and he has the quality to change the match in a single moment. Let's talk about Mikel Oyarzabal, the silent match winner. Sometimes the most dangerous striker isn't the flashiest. Mikel Oyarzabal perfectly fits that description. He isn't constantly involved. He doesn't attempt 10 dribbles every game. But when opportunities arrive, he finishes them. With 4 goals, he's Spain's leading goal scorer and among the tournament's top marksmen. His movement inside the penalty area is exceptional. He drifts into spaces that centre backs hate defending. Against Portugal, he wasn't the headline name. Merino scored the winner, but throughout the tournament, Oyarzabal has consistently occupied defenders, opened space for teammates, and remained Spain's biggest goal threat. Belgium cannot afford to lose track of him inside the box. One lapse in concentration is all he usually needs. Let's talk about the tactical pattern. This game is fascinating because both teams want to attack but in completely different ways. Spain want long spells of possession. They'll dominate the ball, patiently circulate it through Rodri, Pedri, and the midfield, stretch Belgium's defensive shape, and wait for the perfect opening. Everything is about control. Belgium are the opposite. They are happy for matches to become open, they attack quickly, more vertically, and create an incredible number of shooting opportunities. In fact, Belgium are averaging 21.4 shots per game in this World Cup, the second highest average ever recorded at a World Cup since 1966. So the central tactical question becomes, can Belgium generate enough high quality chances against the tournament's best defense, or will Spain's control suffocate Belgium before they can even find their rhythm? This is the battle that will define this quarterfinal. Let's talk about Belgium, the team that nobody wanted to face. If Spain has been the tournament's most controlled side, Belgium have become its most explosive. The group stage wasn't spectacular. There were moments where they looked cautious, even predictable, but knockout football has brought out the best in them. The turning point came against the United States. Belgium didn't just win 4-1, they overwhelmed the Americans with relentless attacking football. They pressed aggressively, created chances from all areas of the pitch, and looked like a team finally playing with freedom. Across their last 2 knockout matches, Belgium have scored 7 goals and they're averaging an incredible 21.4 shots per game. At this World Cup, that's the second highest average on record since detailed World Cup data began in 1966. Those aren't just hopeful attempts from distance. Belgium consistently flood the penalty area, attack the second wall, and create repeated opportunities. Even if their first effort is blocked, they are usually first to rebound. Against Spain's disciplined defense, that persistence could be their biggest weapon. Let's talk about Charles de Ketelaere, Belgium's creative spark. One player who has consistently transformed Belgium's attack is Charles de Ketelaere. His brace against the USA wasn't just about finishing, it showcased everything that makes him so dangerous. He drifts between the midfield and defensive lines, making him incredibly difficult to mark. If Spain's midfield steps out to close him down, space opens behind him. If they stay compact, de Ketelaere has the vision to pick a pass or carry the ball into dangerous areas. He's become Belgium's creative heartbeat. Spain will ask Rodri likely to keep a close eye on him on those pockets of space. But if De Ketelaere is allowed to receive on the half turn, Belgium can quickly transition from defense to attack. Romelu Lukaku. Let's talk about the ultimate super sub. Now let's talk about Romelu Lukaku. This tournament has been unusual for him. He hasn't always started matches, yet he still scored Belgium's second highest goals number this World Cup with 3 goals. What's even more remarkable is that all three goals have come as a substitute. That makes him only the second Belgian player ever to score in three consecutive World Cup matches after Mark Wilmots in 2002, and only Roger Milla has scored more substitute goals at a single World Cup. Imagine defending Belgium for 70 minutes and then having to deal with a fresh Romelu Lukaku. His physicality changes games instantly. Belgium know that they don't need him on pitch for 90 minutes. They need him when defenders are tired. If this game is level entering the final half an hour, Lukaku could become Belgium's biggest weapon. Let's talk about team news. There is one major concern for Belgium. Midfielder Amadou Onana is unavailable after suffering a serious injury against the United States. That's a significant loss because Onana provides energy, defensive cover, and physicality in the midfield. Hans Vanaken is expected to replace him. While Vanaken offers more creativity, he doesn't provide the same defensive presence. That means Belgium's midfield may become slightly easier to play through, something Spain's technical midfielders will undoubtedly try to exploit. Spain, meanwhile, have no fresh injury concerns. Luis de la Fuente is expected to name the same starting 11 that defeated Portugal. Continuity is another strength of the Spanish side. Now let's talk about the three key battles. 1. Rodri versus De Ketelaere. This is arguably the most important battle on the pitch. If Rodri controls possession, Spain control the game. If De Ketelaere finds space between the lines, Belgium become incredibly dangerous. Whichever player imposes himself will likely dictate the rhythm of this match. Next, Lamine Yamal versus Belgium's left side. Yamal has already completed 17 successful dribbles at this World Cup. Belgium cannot afford to leave him isolated one on one. Expect constant doubling up from the fullback and winger. The danger that creates space elsewhere for Spain. It's the classic dilemma: stop Yamal or stop everyone else. And third, Belgium's attack versus Spain's defense. This is the headline battle. Belgium averaged 21.4 shots per match. Spain have conceded almost nothing all tournament. Something has to give. Will Belgium finally break Spain's historic clean sheet streak, or will Spain once again frustrate another elite attack? Now, can Belgium break Spain's defense? Here's why this question is so fascinating. Spain aren't simply defending well; they're preventing opponents from creating chances in the first place. Their pressing begins high up the pitch. Rodri screens the passing lanes. The fullbacks recover quickly. The centre backs rarely get dragged out of position. That's why their XGA is just 0.30 per game, the lowest recorded at a World Cup. Belgium, however, attacked differently from Spain's previous opponents. They don't solely rely on position. They attack directly, they shoot early, they flood the box with runners, they create chaos. That makes them perhaps the toughest attacking test Spain have faced this tournament. Now let's talk about the psychological battle. Quarterfinals are often decided mentally as much as tactically. Spain know they are favorites. They have dominated Belgium historically. They are unbeaten in 15 games. They have won 5 straight against Belgium. They haven't conceded a World Cup goal in 6 matches. But Belgium have absolutely nothing to fear. They're unbeaten in 18 games. They are scoring freely. Their confidence is growing with every knockout. Sometimes that's exactly the mindset required to produce an upset. My prediction: I expect Belgium to ask more questions of Spain than any team has so far. There will be moments where Spain are forced to sit deeper than they have been across all tournament. There will be moments when Lukaku causes problem. There will be moments when De Ketelaere finds dangerous spaces. But over 90 minutes, Spain's control should prove decisive. Rodri's ability to dictate position, Pedri's intelligence between the lines, Lamine Yamal's ability to eliminate defenders, and Oyarzabal's movement inside the penalty area. I think those qualities eventually make the difference. Belgium will create chances. In fact, I think they'll end Spain's incredible clean sheet streak, but Spain have simply looked the more complete team throughout this tournament. My prediction: Spain 2, Belgium 1. Goal scorers: Mikel Oyarzabal, Lamine Yamal, and Romelu Lukaku off the bench. That result would send Spain into the semi-finals, where an enormous clash against either France or Morocco could await. Final thoughts: regardless of the result, this has all the ingredients of a classic World Cup quarterfinal. One team built on patience, control, and defensive excellence, the other built on attacking freedom, creativity, and relentless pressure. It's the tournament's best defense against one of its best attacks. If Spain can dictate the tempo, they'll likely progress. If Belgium can turn this into an open end to end contest, they'll have every chance of causing one of the biggest upsets of the tournament. One thing is certain: football fans are in for an incredible night. If you have enjoyed this in-depth preview, make sure to like the video, subscribe to LSR10, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our post-match analysis and the rest of the World Cup coverage. I'd also love to hear your thoughts. Who do you think reaches the semi-final? Will Spain's defense hold firm, or will Belgium's finally attack break it? Drop your predictions in the comments down below and let's get the discussion started. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.